Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nidus Anarchy series. I'm your host Adam, the CIO of Nidus, and today we have John Gunn of Token Ring here, which I'm super excited because I got to play with your ring and see it firsthand at Identiverse last summer. And unfortunately, I didn't talk to anyone until like the last day when everyone was tearing the booth down, so I really didn't get to get too much info. And I've been actually promoting your product to a lot of different vendors and companies since then, just because of its uniqueness. So I thought, man, I really should just get you on here so you can explain it, because obviously you're going to have way more information than I do in the 5 minute brief I had at the booth. So thank you for coming. And why don't we just start out with a little bit of who you are and what is Token Ring?
Yeah, first let me thank you for the invitation. It's wonderful that we're doing this on a Friday. It gave me something to look forward to all week. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Thank you.
And you mentioned you're promoting our product. It's working. We have over 100 organizations that are waiting for
Wow.
waiting for a POC of the ring. Major banks across the U.S., mid-sized banks, small banks, airlines, car makers, a lot of insurance providers, a lot of healthcare, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
Uh, Everybody who has a lot to lose in ransomware attacks, and ransomware attacks just dominate the news.
Yeah, all last year. I mean, right after Identiverse, that's all it was, right? So,
What's fascinating about that is that everybody looks at their investment as ROI. If I
mhm.
spend this, what's my return? For us, we're in this, I guess it's a great position, although I hate to be delighted at other people's. Uh, you know, the amount of losses from ransomware are probably 4 to 8 times what they were just a couple of years ago. So that makes ROI, our ROI, which was before was attractive, look really, really great. Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about the ring, because it's
Sure.
one of the coolest, innovative pieces of tech and identity protection that I've seen yet by far. That's why it's been, for me, it's been like, I'll say, I've even used I can't say clients, but I've shown your stuff in slides like, hey, this is an example of someone doing some cutting edge stuff. So why don't you kind of go into the ring?
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. And we get this common reaction. We mostly when we introduce people, we do it at events, people can see it. It's just like
Hmm.
you saw us at an event. And they'll
Yep.
see, they see our sign, we stop ransomware and phishing, and their first reaction is, yeah, bullshit. But it is their number one, concern. And then we show them how we do it. We show them the ring, and people pick it up and they touch it and they put it on. They say, okay, well, how do you stop, ransomware based on phishing? And we say, well, we fix the problems of legacy MFA. Legacy MFA is great. Nobody's still using password. They're all using MFA. But the MFA everybody is using is 20 years old. And so I ask people, okay, how many of you did you use a floppy disk today? A lot of people didn't know what a floppy disk is. Did you use dial-up? I use a dial-up internet right now. Did you send a fax today? The answer is no, no, no. Well, the MFA that organizations are using, their frontline defense against cyber criminals is 20-year-old technology, the same age as those three examples I gave you. So
Hmm.
you take cyber criminals using generative AI and most advanced techniques and a defense based on 20-year-old technology, what could go wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you bring that example too, because generative AI to me is going to be the premier risk that no one's talking about really, that is going to be a massive problem coming very soon.
People are talking about it. They're starting to. In January, February,
Hmm.
Microsoft and OpenAI published a blog post where they said the attacks are already there. Cyber criminals for phishing and other things, they're already using large
Absolutely.
language models. In particular, it's their large language model. And then just last month, the NSA issued a warning to all organizations saying Gen AI is being used in identifying targets for
Hmm.
phishing, writing the emails, and enhancing the malware. So it's not here on an epic scale yet, but it's already started.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree.
So we looked at MFA and we said MFA must have MSA. But why is MFA failing? And when you look at all these major breaches, ransomware attacks, MGM for 100 million, Johnson Controls 51 million, Hanes brands, many of us are wearing. They had
Hmm.
100 million of revenue, 30 million of profit, Caesars 15 million. And now, I don't know about United, but all the ones I mentioned, all of those were because of stolen credentials and failed MFA. And Uber was the original one, was it 2 years ago? where,
Yeah.
MFA bombing, they kept hitting a sysadmin with a request to approve access, and they finally hit approve, and they asked the person later, "Why'd you do that?" They said, "Well, it was late and I was tired. I want to go to bed."
It was
You know,
annoying. Yeah.
so we looked at why MFA was failing, and it came down to people. It still relies on people. You have to keep the device, not lose the device, use the device if you get an OTP or if you have an approval button on your phone. You have
Mhm.
to not be social engineered. So we said, we've got to take people out of it. And you look at companies like Nova4. Nova4 is a fantastic company. They have saved probably trillions of dollars of losses by training people. But with generative AI, going back to what we talked about a moment ago, phishing emails, everything they've trained you that people look for, look for misspellings, look for grammar, look for, this and that doesn't make sense. Generative AI
Mhm.
is going to get rid of all of that. So no matter how much you train your finance expert to be an expert in detecting phishing emails, or your inventory expert, or your manufacturing expert to be experts in cybersecurity, the new technology is going to stump them and they're not going to be able to do it. So humans will become this bigger and bigger risk. And I mentioned to
Oh,
people,
yeah.
how long have you been in the cybersecurity space?
30 years.
Some people have been in only 2 years, 3 years. I say
Yeah.
how much the technology has advanced in those 3 years. What you've seen is just phenomenal change. The one thing that hasn't changed at all is people.
Yeah.
Their IQ hasn't gone up. They haven't gotten
Nope.
any gullible. You read these stories that half the people are disengaged with their company and they're quiet quitting. You think
Yep.
those people are trying their
No,
hardest by
they don't
fishing?
care. And I've always said, like, there's no patch for human stupidity.
I have a shirt that
A
says,
social engineering expert?
yeah, I bought that at DEF CON, like DEF CON
Yeah. Jinx.
cover.
Yep, exactly. I was like DEF CON like 14 or something forever ago.
Back when it was
Riviera.
at the Riv. Those are the fun days of DEF CON.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying. I'm so glad you're. That's. I was actually just had an interview with one of the founders of Loft Heavy Industries right before this. We did our 100th episode, and we were talking about DEF CON and how much fun it was back in the days and things. It was so good.
Before the suits like me took it over.
Right? Nice going. So how does your ring stop stupid people from giving away credentials to others and resetting passwords?
Okay, essentially we took, a dongle. I mean, YubiKeys from YubiCo are the best. Anybody who cares about security is using that. So we said, how do we improve on that? So we said, well, we'll take it and we'll wrap it around a person's finger.
Hmm.
That way they won't leave it in the desk. They won't lose it. You don't need to buy
Yep.
two. Won't lose it. And what they they also won't plug it in their machine and leave it there when they go on break, go to lunch, go on
That's
vacation.
exactly what I do. I literally just pulled this out of my computer to show it to you, and then when I'm not here, I don't have it either.
And do you leave your keys in your car when it's in the driveway? Probably not.
Yeah.
But the same thing. So that's pretty risky. So we said, okay, they have to wear it. So wearable, check. And then we said, we're going to put a fingerprint sensor. I don't know if you can see that. That's a
Yeah.
fingerprint. So when I put it on, it scans my fingerprint.
Hmm.
Yeah, it takes a few seconds. And so only I can use it. So even if I did leave it on my desk or in my drawer and somebody else took it, they would not be able to use it. So first I authenticate myself to the ring and that activates the ring.
Okay.
The ring communicates with my local device by either NFC or Bluetooth,
Okay.
no Wi-Fi, no cellular connection, so it can't be hacked, and it eliminates the whole
Please
B1.
don't ever say it can't be hacked.
Yeah, sorry, through those methods.
Yes. Okay.
IoT is such a nightmare. How do organizations control it? And the same thing, people are forever downloading malware and their devices are compromised. So we said, let's get rid of that on this device. And then on the device, in the device is a secure element.
Hmm.
That secure element is, the seed, the secret, your private key.
Okay.
It enables that, and that and the biometrics are in the secure element. So a lot
Hmm.
of people, rightfully so, it's this dilemma of want to go to biometrics because they're more secure. Ooh, don't want my biometrics stolen. You can change your password. You can't change your face
Yeah.
or your. There's truth to that. So the biometrics never leave the ring. They never go to the local device. They never go to a server. They never go to the cloud. So users who say, "Whoa, you're not having my biometrics." We're not. They're
Yeah.
never going to finger. They're never going to leave the secure element. The secure element is tamper proof. So if someone tried to disassemble the ring and open the secure element, it would destroy itself essentially.
Mhm.
And so the private key and the
So
biometric.
what's to prevent someone from scanning their finger and then just setting it down because they don't want to wear it, and then someone grabbing it and throwing it on their hand and then being that person?
Great question. Inside of it, this other little thing here, the camera will focus on, is a proximity sensor. That kind of
Okay.
white. So as soon as I take it off, it deactivates.
Oh, well, there's
So
that. Okay.
I put it on, take it off, deactivates. So if I take it off, boom. Some people will ask, well, what if somebody cut off your finger and took the the ring in the finger? I'm like, wow, you watch as many Mission Impossible and episodes of Reacher as I do. Uh, but
But does it do like a heartbeat sensor or a heat sensor or anything like that?
I just tell people, hey, if you got somebody with a weapon in the room with you and they
Yeah.
can cut your finger off, you have much bigger problems. And very few Russians, North Koreans, Chinese, or Iranians are in the room with you at that moment. Okay,
So
that's the
how do you how's like so like on the YubiKey when it prompts me, I got to tap the little thing. So does it just automatically go through? How does that like the confirmation take place? Because I'm assuming it's not active 100%. Because the battery can't be that big in that thing.
fantastic question. When you knock, you can't see me knocking, or maybe you can hear. When I knock,
Okay.
that is the FIDO gesture, and because the ring also has an accelerometer in it.
Oh,
So
okay. Wow.
this is that. So I can knock once and see the battery level. I can knock twice and I'm communicating by NFC if that's my choice.
Hmm.
Or I can knock four times and I get Bluetooth. So I can go Bluetooth or NFC. Some organizations have locked down Bluetooth, no Bluetooth. And some people don't like the range of Bluetooth. Normally it's about
Yeah.
200 feet. We
Yeah.
shrink that down to, I say yards. We shrink that down to about 20 yards. But still, if you're in an airport lounge,
That's everybody.
they could have a
Yeah.
flipper and but yeah, they're not gonna be able to do anything with it. But just the
I
thought
have
of
my flipper here somewhere. I was looking for it.
you own one.
Oh, 100%. Oh, hold on. Keep talking.
So but NFC, I mean, if they're trying to snip your NFC, they'd have to be sitting on your lap, and you'd probably notice that. So we like NFC, but a lot of devices don't have an NFC reader built in, so we include an NFC reader, or for people using a mobile device. There you
There we
go.
go.
Yeah. So and then with your private key and your public key is on the device, you can do the exchange. We can verify it's you. We can eliminate the man in the middle. We're FIDO2 compliant. So the most gullible, disengaged employee, they have no OTP to give up. They can't go to a malicious website and use the ring or enter a password or enter an OTP or any of that. So they become incredibly hard to hack. Doesn't mean hackers are going to say, "Oh well, we had a good day, good run at. Let's go get jobs as
Right.
painters." They're gonna attack through vulnerabilities around.
So I've actually contacted your sales department to get a ring. And so first off, I want to tell you before I get to that part. When I got to play with the ring in hand last summer, one thing I just want to tell people is, the amount of tech that you have crammed to this thing, even with the battery and everything, it's extremely light, like super lightweight. I mean, I wear like I don't know if you see like my wedding ring is a very chunky silver, so I'm used to heavy jewelry, and but that thing is like I really can't even tell it was on my hand. It was so light. So that's super impressive off the bat. So I'm trying to get one of a ring from your salespeople. I really didn't want to tell them like what we're doing because I was trying to see if I could have it ahead of time. But I want to see if I can try and hack your ring. Do you think I'm going to be able to do it?
Uh, let's see. The whole world is listening, so I'm going to say no. We do have. I mean, there's so many creative attacks, and some of them have
Right.
a reputation. Like, what's the German hacking conference? What the hell is it called? I forgot the name of it.
Oh,
What was
the EIC, cupping your coal one, or no? Or you mean the hack one?
anyway, like
Yeah.
6 years ago, they demonstrated, they took a picture of some senior government official with a super high telephoto lens in their finger, and they blew it up and got the fingerprint, and then they beat an optical fingerprint reader. Ours happens to be capacitive, so
Hmm.
it's a little bit harder to fool. You have to have that, you have to have the liveness of electricity through your capacitance through your fingers.
I
But
won't count cutting off a finger as a hack. I'll give you that
so,
one.
it was 6 years ago. People said, "Oh wow, fingerprints, won't be safe anymore because they showed how they could defeat it." it was theoretical and never had a
Yeah.
real application. But we are looking for that. In fact, we have a major university where a group of graduate students we've given them rings and said, figure out how this could be defeated. I had a few ideas like,
Oh, well, then you're fine. They have way more free time than I do. You're good.
what if you take the app and you download it, quote, debug it,
Hmm.
put in your own code, load it up on a third-party site that's, not Apple or Google. Somebody downloads it. Could I then hack the ring that way? What if I steal it on its way to somebody? So, coming from the cyberspace, not as much experience as you, we want as many people as we can, good people first,
Yes.
uh, figuring out ways so that we can address them.
Right. No, that's awesome. That's actually really cool that you even did that because most people just live in their own little black box and think they figured it all out. And it's like you really need to get this thing into people's hands and see what, because there's so many people out there that are going to come up with just random things that you would never think of. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't even think of that as an angle. It's like,
There's so many brilliant people in our space. It's the most fascinating segment to be in.
so one thing you mentioned in the beginning was that you noticed there's a big uptick for you in the healthcare industry. And that was one of the first things I thought of because I own a tattoo shop right down in Puerto Rico. Obviously, I'm not worried about people stealing the identities of my tattoo artists or anything, but they wear latex gloves all day long while they're tattooing. And so it's like, well, you have to take them off. They got blood on their hands and all that kind of stuff. How do you do stuff? Because they have to interact with their phones. So that means they have to stop what they're doing all the time. This seems like a great solution for that for people that are working in areas where they have to be gloved up or things because it can transmit through the glove easily, right? You don't have to take everything off and you can keep working without stopping what you're doing.
That's a great application. And you would first read the fingerprint on the ring, put it on, then put on the glove. And
Right.
we do work through surgical gloves of different types. Both the NFC and the Bluetooth. So it would
Hmm.
be that's a good application. Yeah, I noticed your tats on the video. You got some great art there.
Oh, yeah, thanks. um, so one thing, so your background, like what's your background? I noticed you came from 3D FX a long time ago, which I thought was really awesome because all my video cards were 3D FX back in the day for all my Doom and everything. It was like, oh, we got to get the next one because it's the only way we're going to play 1024 768.
Yeah, that was the first ones to do scanline interleave, essentially using two GPUs and have
Yep.
the underline. Those were glory days. That's back when I had a full head of hair and only a few kids, uh, as opposed to
Is
11
there
now.
a correlation? Because I'm like noticing something here.
But yeah, I've had just a tremendous career. I've worked with so many gifted and dedicated people. I've learned so much from. And I'm talking about colleagues and subordinates. I've also had the opportunity to work for some great CEOs along the way. I've learned a lot, and this I've had a background in consumer products, a retail background even before that,
Okay.
seller background, and also a lot in the cybersecurity. And the neat thing is about what we do, it really kind of combines all of that because well, this is an enterprise product for enterprises. It's super
Yep.
easy. The users of it, we put out 10,000 in an organization. All 10,000 users, we're back to the consumer business. These are consumers, individuals that they have to be able to open the box, instantly have everything be intuitive, easy to use, because if they don't, that's a help
Yeah.
desk. And the
Yeah.
last thing the organization wants is, 10% of 10,000 people calling the help desk because I hit a snag when I was trying to use it. So that consumer background helps me a lot of this has to be because at retailers, it's a killer. If someone can't use
So
the thing,
let me
they
ask you that because that was the big thing I had a problem with when I was talking with your guys. So first off, like a Web3 wallet, they're free. A YubiKey, it's like $50, and a lot of people scoff at the price of a YubiKey. I'll let you mention the price of your ring if you want to, but I feel that's a big barrier of entry from the enterprise world. So
oh,
how
for
have you been approaching that? How much do you want to say how much it is, or do you want to leave that as a thing?
single, people can buy right now on Amazon. It's 295. On Amazon, we
Okay.
sell not a consumer product. So we look at it, people say, wow, but compared to, I could use Twilio OTPs over SMS, I can get those for a dime. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, for sure. You can do much cheaper solutions. But when they
Do
look
you
at
see like at scale you'll be able to bring the price down?
potentially, but it's also, it's talking with some of our other people and say, what do you pay per seat for a lot of your other licenses? And they'll say, this is 80, this is 100, a
Okay.
month. And we also have a subscription plan, which is $10 a month. And so
Oh,
we're
okay. Oh, wow. I think that's somewhat reasonable.
legacy solutions. And all those solutions, if you had some magical way to talk to those people I mentioned, MGM, Clorox, Haynes, and so forth, and say, I can take you back in time.
Yeah. Oh, would you spend $300 to prevent that from happening? Yeah. 100%.
This solution would stop it. They would take that
Yeah.
now. There was this
Yeah.
upstate New York, what's the name, healthcare provider.
Oh,
Not,
yeah, we just talked about them. Care, what? They just had a 22, yeah,
yeah, it was Refuah. Refuah, I'm probably
yeah.
not pronouncing, not a big organization. They had the cost of the ransomware attack, the cost of remediation, the cost of the upgrade. There'll probably be, there could easily be a class action lawsuit. The HIPAA fine alone, just the HIPAA fine,
Yeah.
got to be $2,700 per employee. So for
Whoa, I didn't even think about that part.
$300, you can make that $2,700. In healthcare
Yeah.
right now, healthcare's getting hit 4 or 5 ways. They get pay us money or we'll shut you down. And
Yeah.
United Change, obviously devastating. Here in Chicago, Lurie Children's Hospital, they were shut down for 10 days. There's stories about hospitals have to refuse ambulances because they're shut down. So one is getting
So
back.
realistically, this is more for users that are working in highly privileged, like that have access to highly privileged systems, not necessarily your entire workforce.
Exactly. We are
Okay,
not.
that makes way more sense. Because I dropped $300 on a ring. For me personally, that sounds awesome. I was just thinking, like, would I give like my data entry guy a ring to log in every day? It's like that seems a bit excessive at that point.
And people say, "What about my YubiKeys I just bought?" I said, "Keep them. They're the best. They're the best solution out there for your regular users, but for
Yeah.
your admins, your senior executives, and it varies from between like 5 to 20% in an organization. We have an
Hmm.
industrial company where it's 5%. We have a brokerage where it's a much higher percent of people they want to have one on. So, and implementation is simple. We have an AAGUID, the authentication attestation global universal identifier, and they just simply change it from whatever authenticator they have now in their IAM solution to ours, and it's almost just that simple.
That's awesome. Well, I gotta say, I want to say thank you for coming on. I know this was like kind of last minute, just thrown together, but I really still I think your product is awesome because there's especially when people start really wanting to have serious conversations about continuous auth without interruptive. This that you really have the only thing I've seen where it works the best that I've seen. I mean, well, let me say this. In theory, I haven't played with it in my hands on yet, but from what I've seen and just being able to play with it in person from Identiverse, I think you have an amazing product, and I wish you the best. And I will continue to be telling everyone about your product because I do think you're onto something.
Awesome. And again, thank you. It's been a delight. I feel like you and I could talk for two
Oh
hours.
yeah. Well, I'm going to be at Identiverse this summer, and I'm going to be at EIC in Berlin. So if you're at either of those, we'll definitely meet up.
I'll see you there, and I will get you a ring.
Awesome, man. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.